Hey, this is Eric. This is probably going to be one of my shortest videos ever, but I'm actually making this video for the people who've been following me along for several months now, and I posted some previous videos about my promotion process. This year I began the steps to be promoted to full professor at my university. This is the culmination of many decades of going through the academic path. I think in Australia particularly it's a bit more of a challenge to get promoted to full professor, and so I declared early on in the year that I was going to do this, and I made these other videos to talk to you about what process was. And here it is, without further ado. Yes, I got promoted! Yay! I got the call on October 17th. My provost for the university, who's sort of like the second in charge of the university, he called me directly and I answered it, recognizing who he was. And he said, "Are you in a safe spot?" Because he could tell I was driving. And I told him, "I'm safe enough." I was a little worried that that would mean that he's going to tell me that this was not really good news. But no, in fact, he said, I'm calling to let you know that your promotion was successful. And therefore, everything was going to be fine. And he told me that I would hear something from my vice chancellor, basically the head of the university, within a couple days. And I would also hear from HR about my promotion process. So yes, then about a week later, I got this nice email from our Vice Chancellor, Deborah Terry. And Deborah, again, you can see here in the email, congratulated me on my promotion. And then it was probably another 5 days or so before it sort of became publicly known. And I wasn't really sure what to do because at our university, they kind of like keep these things secret, and they don't really, they seem to want to have it all be revealed by the right people or something. And so I had told some of my closer friends about my promotion, but I didn't tell, for instance, my head of school or anybody else. This past Friday, someone actually announced it. My head of school wrote to me and said, "Have you been promoted yet?" And I said, "Yes." And so she sent out an email to my entire school, and I got all sorts of nice congratulations from my colleagues. Now, what this means is that I will be promoted on January 1st. So until then, I'm still associate professor. I will still be addressed as Associate Professor Vanman. Remember that in Australia, our academic years go from January 1st to December 31st. So it's just exactly the same as the calendar year. So I'm near the end of this particular academic year here in November. Only got 6-7 weeks to go before I'll be promoted to my full professor status. And then I'll get this increased rank and increased pay and so on. I will just say I'm very thrilled about it. I also have to say that it's sort of like more a sense of relief than it was joy, because it's like being in a very, very long marathon that goes on for many years. And in fact, you could look at it as perhaps I've been doing this for about 31 years, ever since I got my PhD. And I've had some ups and downs. You know, there were places where if I had stayed there, perhaps I would have been a full professor by now, but I moved, made decisions to go elsewhere, and all these changes, which again, I talked about in my previous videos, so I'm not going to go through them here. But because of all of that, it just feels more like an immense sense of relief that I no longer have to worry about going through the promotion process. When you're a full professor, it has that perk of maybe some extra pay, also the title in Australia that they're always going to address you as professor rather than doctor. I don't plan to cut back on my work or tend to loaf around now because I don't have to worry about being promoted anymore. I'll probably just keep doing what I was doing all along, and I will therefore not really see much of a difference in my trajectory in terms of what I publish and who I work with and so on. I maybe will feel a little bit more freedom about continuing to pursue things that just interest me rather than worrying about what the sell is, but I don't know. I don't think even that's going to be the truth. And I certainly will still care about my teaching and care about my service. So they got a good deal with me for the next 10 years at least. So that's where I am. And I thank you for being with me on this journey. Now, I also thought this might be a good time just to give one piece of advice to somebody who's moving up behind me, someone else who wants to be a full professor one day. This probably is advice that only applies to a certain type of individual who's like me. In my case, I was the kind of person who always felt like I couldn't push myself or advance to the next level unless I had all my ducks in a row. And because of that, I've had this like since I was in the early 90s when I was publishing papers. I didn't even like to send manuscripts out until I was 100% confident that my data were well analyzed and that I had written up the paper well. I'm sort of a perfectionist in the sense that I I don't really believe in perfection per se as much as I believe in I don't want to I probably I probably want to be rejected, and so therefore I try to do everything I could do to be rejection proof. And so as a result of being sort of rejection proof, that means then that I have not taken as many risks as I wish I had, and I perhaps should have gone up for my different levels of promotion much earlier than I have. And so my advice to you is don't be like me. If you are doing a good job and your colleagues tell you that you're doing a good job, just do it. Go up for promotion. Keep striving, keep applying for those fellowships and awards. Don't listen to your voice telling you that you're not ready, that this is not going to happen, you're going to get rejected, you're going to fail. I think all of those are voices that I listen to too much, and I wish I hadn't. And I wish I had started this journey, started the promotion process to all the different levels in a faster sequence and earlier on in my career. And that's all I can say now. I can't completely regret things because I am where I am today. I'm very happy, but I hope that you don't wait until you get to my age to go up for full professor. I hope that if you're somebody who's much younger than me in the academic path, that you will pursue things much more quickly than I did. So that's it. That's all I have to say today. I'm going to go back to posting my regular content in the next couple of weeks. This is a very busy time for us in Australia, academic-wise. We are done with our teaching. We now have final exams, but I'm also hosting a big conference at the end of November. I'm also going on Wednesday to Bali for a conference for a couple days. My son is finishing high school. There's just tons of things going on in November, and I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to be able to put out any more YouTube content in the coming month, but I will try as hard as I can. At the very least, by December, I'll be back on schedule and be putting out things on a regular weekly basis again. So thank you so much for being a supporter and coming on this channel. And if you are interested in any things that I do in social neuroscience and psychology, please consider subscribing and go ahead and like this video. I really appreciate everybody who watches my videos and subscribes and leaves comments. So thanks so much. And thank you again for supporting me. Bye-bye.